up? What up? What up? We're back with another MMA Tap Hour. And Ben, this time, it's not a UFC pay per view like we normally do. We got a pretty good stacked fight night card here coming in Orlando. Kind of surprised. Me and you were looking over the card and we're like, hey, hold up. Maybe we should cover this card. There's some fights we like here.
Yeah. I mean, when you got Tai Tuivasa as the third to the last fight of the night, you got some known names, some household names, and you've got some guys who put on pretty exciting fights. Kevin Holland has grown his fan base throughout the pandemic and 2022. Stephen Thompson been around MMA forever, so he's got his fan base. And then you got guys like Tai Tuivasa on the undercard. You got guys like Clay Guida on the undercard.
Yeah.
Matt Snell, a bunch of guys that put on really good fights. So yeah, looking forward to this card, man.
All right. Well, let's get into it. And let's start here, Ben. Like you mentioned, Tai Tuivasa coming in at plus money, plus 190. Not something you see for Tai Tuivasa lately. He's been pretty good in form until he met that last fight with Cyril Gane. And he's meeting Sergey Pavlovich. Pavlovich, another knockout artist for Tai Tuivasa. And Vegas has Pavlovich at minus 225. I'm going to go over Tuivasa's last fight, Ben. Give me some info on what you see here. It's very, very clear on what we're seeing with Tai Tuivasa. One way. Here, how does it go here?
Yeah, it goes, somebody's going to hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor whenever Tai Tuivasa fights. Usually it's sooner rather than later.
Yep.
But you see here, for the most part, I mean, all of those wins by KO, and then even his loss against Cyril Gane, a guy who, for the most part, we think is a point fighting heavyweight. Cyril Gane was able to get him out of there because Tuivasa just goes in there to kill or be killed, which is why he's grown his fan base, which is why, he can be put on main events. He main evented a card in 2022, you know what I mean? So that's pretty crazy, pretty long run for him, a guy who's just bangs in there. Right away when I saw the odds, Justin, though, I just thought like Derek Lewis right away, because Derek Lewis is always that underdog, but that he's got the puncher's chance. That he could – now Derek Lewis can't really take beatings. Now he kind of, plays possum and plays possum and gets himself out of there. But a younger Derek Lewis would take an ass whooping, then come back in the third round, second round, and, end up knocking the guy out. So that's kind of the vibes that Tuivasa gives me here. And seeing him at close to 2-1 odds, I mean, this is a guy who was just, fighting Derek Lewis in the main event, just fighting, title contender Cyril Gane, his last fight. It seems like the odds should be a little bit closer, although you know what you're going to get. It's kill or be killed. So this is a tricky one, bro. This is a tricky one.
Very clear, as Ben points out, it's all him going out on his shield or firing you off his shield. And the same thing can be said for Sergey. I mean, look at it's the reverse order. He got into form. He lost his fight versus Alistair Overeem, and then now he's been on form. Now, Alistair Overeem, Derek Lewis, similar styles to Tuivasa as far as the kickboxing goes, heavy power. We saw him pass the test against Derek Lewis, but so has Tai Tuivasa. I know MMA math doesn't always equal out. When you got two guys, Derek Lewis on the same name for both their cards, and they both pass that test, what do you think from there? What do you take away?
I mean, I take away that maybe they can be taken serious. Maybe they're gonna, be contending one day. But I mean, here you see the loss to Overeem, then you see a win against almost looks like a very past his prime Derek Lewis now.
Yes.
When you see him fight, even that stoppage of that fight was very controversial. But then you see guys Shamil, Maurice Green, Marcelo Gom. Nobody. I don't think that he has any wins on there that give him the minus 200 price tag.
Exactly that. Those names don't equate minus 225. I would contend that he's the sharper striker. He's more straight punches, doesn't loop his punches as much as Tuivasa. But I don't see why you're coming in at minus 225. I think these odds should be a little closer.
They definitely should. And then Sergey is a guy who hasn't been out of the first round many times. Yeah. So like I said, what if Tuivasa takes that beating in the first round, gets to the second, and in the second, I mean, look at the difference in their builds. You know what I mean? One dude's all muscular, so he might just tire out. at plus 190, I think it's worth a shot on Tai Tuivasa. This is definitely a fight that's going to take place on his feet. Sergi has no takedowns in his UFC career. So, I mean, we've talked about, he could win just by taking him down easily. We know that that's the way to beat Tai Tuivasa. But when this guy has no career UFC takedowns, why do we expect this to be the fight?
Yeah, I
You know
agree.
what I mean?
This is something I'm looking at. If I'm playing something, it's good. The fight to end in KO or TKO. That's the play I'm playing for. They're both heavyweights. They both can take each other out at any time. It's one hitter quitters when you're this size. I don't feel like I'm comfortable with either one. If I had to, I'd probably play Tuivasa because of the plus money. But more than likely, I'm looking for fight to finish by KO or TKO.
The over under for the fight is set at 1.5, and it's pretty juiced to the under.
Yeah.
Over is plus 200 at some places.
No, I'm gonna run with the under as well there. Anything left on this fight? Anything else you want to dissect here?
No, just it should be a good one.
It's hell of a good one. Can't believe that's the third fight on the card.
Yeah.
Here we go. Let's move on to Brian Barberena plus 430 versus RDA minus 560. Ben, I'm going to start here, and I think these odds are insane. I think RDA definitely should be favored over Barberena. We saw Barberena put out Robbie Lawler last, and even then he didn't look great doing so. But I just think the odds should never be this far out. I'm going to give you Barberena's last five. We can go over them together here. We got Robbie Lawler, probably the best name on the list, and that's past his prime. Robbie Lawler's not the same Robbie Lawler from, 3 years ago. We got Matt Brown, Darren Weeks, Jason Witt, and Anthony Ivy.
How many of those guys are still in the UFC?
Not a lot of, solid names in this list here.
Well, I think that's why I don't understand why you're talking about the price. I think the price should be way higher than what it is.
Well, let's go over RDA's last fights. Fiziev, I contend that Fiziev is one of the top guys in that lightweight division right now. Moicano, he fought Moicano. Moicano came in on short notice. He definitely looked a lot better as a wrestler than Moicano, but Moicano touched him up a few times. And I think that was a pretty decent win versus Paul Felder, who's now retired and out of the UFC. And then Michael Chiesa, Leon Edwards, both losses. Leon Edwards, good loss, I guess. He's the UFC welterweight champion of the world right now.
Barberena is on none of those guys' level.
None of those guys' level, 100%. I just think the odds should be closer to the 200 range than the 500 range.
I mean, maybe because you really want to place your bet on Rafael Dos Anjos, but
yeah, I like RDA more than I like Barberena.
I think that he should be like minus 1,000, bro.
Well, Ben, what constitutes a minus 1,000 performance for you? Because I want to know what that is. Because I bet you RDA doesn't look like that on Saturday.
You don't think that RDA dominates Barberena?
What does that look like for you? 3 rounds of wrestling where he just beats him?
Mixes it up. For sure he's going to wrestle and beat him up, but he's going to win all 3 rounds. It's never going to be close. Barberena doesn't have that knockout
He's not on
power.
his level. He's not Barberena's nowhere near RDA's level.
He can take a good ass whooping is what Barberena can do.
Yeah.
And he beat Robbie Lawler. At this point in their careers, a win against Robbie Lawler doesn't get you much merit anywhere.
Yep.
Robbie Lawler, probably a guy that should be retired.
Yep.
But yeah, man, Barberena, tough guy, awesome that he made a career in the UFC, but this is what we ask for with these older, veteran fighters for the UFC to do. Give them a step down. Let them fight guys like this. I mean, Barberena, he's a good punching bag, bro. And I think that he's going to look like a punching bag in this fight. I think Dos Anjos is just going to dominate him. I think he'll be able to get him to the ground whenever he wants. And yeah, Dos Anjos dominated. He might get him out inside the distance.
I like RDA here. I like him to go to decision. I don't expect a domination. I think it'll be, he'll give up 1 round. I think we'll get like a 29-28. I just don't see RDA as dominant as, in his past. So give me RDA by decision. Obviously, minus 560. I wouldn't choose anything else. All right, let's go to the main event.
Yosh will have RDA parlayed for sure.
Oh, for sure. Yosh. Minus 170 for Kevin Holland. This is surprising to me. Stephen Thompson plus 145. This is very surprising for me because Kevin Holland, whenever he fights a specialist, the only thing we have to model for is the ground specialists he's fought, like Vittori and Hamzat. He's done terrible in. Now he's gonna fight a stand-up specialist. I don't think we've seen him fight a stand-up specialist yet. This is a fight that's very exciting for both guys and for fans because we know what we're going to get here. We're going to see zero ground action, right? We should not see anything on the ground in this fight.
No, we shouldn't, unless Kevin Holland takes it there, and that might be why he's priced at minus 170.
Well, I hope he's been wrestling, but let's see what the Trailblazer has to offer the last five. Let's look at his form. We have a loss against Vittori. That's a middleweight. I believe he, fits better at welter anyway. Cal Dawkins, that was the headbutt that he got KO'd at. That doesn't count. He beats Alex Oliveira Cowboy, beats Tim Means by submission, and then he gets submitted by Hamzat, where Hamzat's weighing a little heavier than him, and we saw the whole Diaz thing where Kevin Holland kind of saved the fight. This may be why Kevin Holland has this main event for this card, because he's kind of owed.
Who was he scheduled?
He was scheduled versus Daniel Rodriguez.
There you go. And that was going to be a good fight.
Yeah, that was going to be a hell of a fight. So, I mean, losses only come from guys who wrestled here.
Yeah, but wins also come against very old and, for the most part, washed up competition and Cowboy Oliveira and Tim Means. Yeah. And then the fights that he lost, I mean, Vittori beat him pretty convincingly, and Hamzat obviously dominated him. Yes, it was short notice. Yes, it was against a wrestler, and this isn't going to be a wrestling fight. But fighting a specialist, and then Justin, it's in the bigger cage also.
Yeah.
So, Wonder Boy has more room to be on his bike, to, point fight, to score. It just seems like a very high step up. This seems like like when Masvidal was fighting Wonder Boy, like before that, because like Masvidal was liked and stuff, and we knew that he could throw, but Wonder Boy is just like, that's what he does. He point fights, and I feel like Kevin Holland's gonna be talking to him, oh, let's go, stop running. And Wonder Boy is just not the type that's gonna buy into that. He's gonna stick to the game plan. And then at plus money here, yes, he's lost to Bilal Muhammad and Gilbert Burns, both fights that he got wrestled in.
Yeah,
I don't expect him to get wrestled here, man. Plus money on Wonder Boy. I know he's very old. I know he's coming off 2 losses, but Kevin Holland isn't that guy. I mean, he's a good fighter. He's a very exciting fighter. But against a guy with a strict game plan, I just don't think that Kevin Holland, it's going to have to be knockout or bust, wrestle or bust.
Let's look at Stephen Wonderboy Thompson's last 5, his form here. Anthony Pettis, he got caught with a KO. That's not a great loss if you're Wonderboy. And then you win against 2 stand-up fighters, Luke, who does have some BJJ, but likes to stand and bang. And you win versus a pretty good Jeff Neal, pretty game Jeff Neal. The only losses, like you mentioned, were to wrestlers. We don't got to see that at all. You added the bigger cage factor, like you mentioned. You got to think Wonderboy at plus 145. You got to kind of like that number. You kind of think, hey, I'm going to probably have to play something like that.
And like Kevin Holland, he's more of, I think, the fan favorite in this fight.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people think he's fun. They like him. I think that's why some people might be going and putting their money on somebody like Kevin Holland in this spot. But to see him as a minus 170 favorite against Wonder Boy, a guy, like we said, who loses just to wrestlers, I mean, I don't understand it at all. I'm not saying Stephen Thompson's going to go in there and knock him out, but I think he's going to win a pretty decisive decision fight.
Yeah. Man, are you going to be watching this card live, or are you going to be at work for this one?
I will be watching the main card live. I'll be at work for the prelims.
Well, man, there's going to be a little treat with Wonder Boy's walkout. He has Jack Black coming in and walking him out personally, singing that Wonder Boy song for him.
Oh,
I think that's cool. I'm a Jack Black fan, so kind of excited to see those 2 worlds mix, because I didn't even know he knew who Wonder Boy was. So pretty excited about that.
And where is this card taking place, Justin? Is it at the
in Orlando? This is an Orlando card, yeah. Pretty stacked little fight night card just to throw right before.
I mean, it's the first fight night. Oh no, it's definitely not the first fight night out of the Apex, like with fans.
No, because there was one
in Austin and stuff. Yeah.
but
But
it's the first one in a while because it's been in Austin in Vegas for a few fight nights now.
yeah, but this one's pretty stacked, bro. Like we said, like there's names all over the card.
Well, let's look at them. Let's look at them. Let's just official play from you before we go look at those. What do you like here?
I like Wonder Boy here at the plus
Same.
145. Maybe Wonder Boy by decision if it's better and if you have that option available. But definitely Wonder Boy plus 145.
All right, like you were mentioning, pretty stacked card. We're just gonna take some stabs at this. Nothing official. We're just gonna look at the card. What the fights we're looking forward to. This is on the undercard. Tracy Cortez, Amanda Ribas.
Yeah, I mean, two chicks who had some hype behind them, for both for separate reasons. You got Tracy Cortez dating Brian Ortega, and I don't. This is like I think this might be the curtain jerker, the night, or this might be on the very very early prelims.
Yeah, it's like
I
the third
on
fight in the early prelims.
If it stays standing up, I think Amanda Hebus is going to beat her.
Yep.
If Tracy Cortez can get a takedown, I don't know if she's going to be able to keep her down. Probably a boring. Nah, I wouldn't say too boring because they two girls that actually go pretty hard,
Yeah, they
you
go.
know, in their own way. So I don't have much of an opinion here. If I had to pick, I would go Amanda Hebus.
I'm on that with you. If Ribas keeps it standing, she's gonna have the edge by a lot. I think. Cortez has a smaller edge on the ground, and it's not that much greater. So I can't go with Cortez as much as I want to go with her. I'm more of a fan of hers. I'm gonna have to go with Amanda Ribas in this fight. All right, another fight we like: Michael Johnson plus 260 versus Mark Diakise.
Michael Johnson, bro, still going at it.
Still got some power in his hands. He still has a little bit of power.
Yeah, he can. And Diakise's a guy who can take a punch for the most part. Lately, he's come back with a much better chin. He's a 3-1 favorite here. I expect him to, get Michael Johnson against the cage, take him down. I expect Diakise to have a pretty easy fight, with Michael Johnson, and that's you can't really say that because Michael Johnson always comes out and for at least a round he'll give you hell. He's pretty quick with his hands, fast twitch. He brings the power,
Yeah.
but he's getting older.
Yeah.
He's getting older. He's losing a little bit of that power. He's a smaller guy, so I like Diakise in this one.
Yeah, I think Michael Johnson's like 1-4 in his last five, so it's not looking good. He's not into good form right now. I think he's good for that first round. I think he's live in that first round. Um, I'm gonna just take a little sprinkle and put him like $5-10 for him to win by TKO. Just see what happens. It's like a little lotto pick for me this weekend on this. I can't see myself backing Daiki's, just not a fan. But I guess it is what it is. Moving on, Philip Rowe versus Nico Price.
Yeah, this should be a good one. Philip Rowe coming off a knockout win. I mean, obviously he has a 100% finish rate. Does have 3 losses under him, but Nico Price also a guy who's lost. Nico Price has fought better competition. He's been known to be that wild guy in the octagon. Now he's a little bit older, as you can see with that mustache. Makes him look like 10 years older, damn near. Definitely the more tested guy, but I like Philip Rowe here. I like Philip Rowe. I think Nico Price gets hit a lot,
He
and I think
does.
Philip Rowe has the reach and can use the reach to put Nico Price out. So at plus 115, I like Philip Rowe.
All right. Well, let's solidify it with the picks you really are going with. These are the plays that you're going to be giving out this weekend. Ben's predictions. Go
Yeah,
for it, Ben.
Philip Rowe, like we said, against Nico Price, plus 115 to get the win. Wonder Boy, plus 145 on the money line. And then the under 2.5 in Matt Schnell and Nicolau, minus 110. Matt Schnell usually comes for fight of the night performances, finishes. He's looking for the bonus. That fight should be a good scrap, and somebody should get finished there. So
Lot,
a lot
lot of
of
value.
plus money this week.
Yeah, a lot of value here, man. I'm going to have to tell you on all these three for sure. And I'm going to have to add my Michael Johnson pick just to,
I don't
shot in
like
the
that
dark.
pick, Josh. I don't
Well,
like that pick.
Sometimes you got to shoot threes and hopefully you land one, It's the Anthony
Shoot or
Davis
shoot,
style.
baby.
Yeah, shooter's going to shoot. We're going to shoot 10, and, if we get 2, then we up. We up.
All
Well,
right.
Ben, I mean, that's it for us. It's a short pod. I'm not, feeling the best. I'm still a little bit under the weather, but I wanted to come out and do this MMA tap hour because and I enjoy this card. I think it's going to be pretty good. UFC Orlando's looking to shape up pretty nice. As far as fight night cards go, this one and the Austin one, man, they're up there as far as UFC fight night cards go. I'm not sure which one I put above.
For sure, but that Austin one also delivered because it was
It
like
did.
every fight that night was a
KOs.
finish. So
Yeah.
let's see if this one delivers also, and hopefully it delivers with these picks and predictions here.
All right. Well, we got some news for you. We do got next week MMA Tap Hour for the UFC pay per view, and our annual UFC MMA Tap Hour Awards show is coming up, and we've been working on the document, we've been working on the script for it, and we're pretty excited with what we got so far. So hopefully we can, have some fun with you all on that one. I look forward to those.
Yeah, we're just going back looking at our predictions for champions that we made last year for this year. So we'll clip that up, put it in there, and then we'll run that back as far as predicting our champions for the end of 2023. I think that was pretty fun, and we'll have some fun when we bring that up.
All right. Ben, anything else that you want to talk about before we sign off here?
No, man, I'm good.
All right. Peace, guys.
Peace.